Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 23 or article 23 of the January 2021 edition of The Light, a truth paper, a free UK alternative paper, link to which is in the description of this video. Okay, so this article is entitled Safe to Fly? Aerotoxicity Cover-Up Scandal, written by John Hoyt. As an airline pilot, I got seriously ill from flying jets. To help those with the same illness, I founded the Aerotoxic Association in 2007. Aerotoxic syndrome is the term used to describe an illness caused by jet planes. However, to protect the aircraft industry, this term and my association are effectively banned by governments and media. Most jets use unfiltered bleed air, which has been piped off the jet engines to pressurise the cabin. Everyone on board breathes air containing toxic particles from jet engine oil. In a significant leak, a visible cloud of poisonous chemicals called a fume event is released. However, as jet oil seals are designed to leak, a background level of poison is present all of the time. Organophosphates were originally developed as nerve agents for chemical warfare in the 1930s, but are used as anti-wear agents when added with other toxic substances to jet engine oil to make engines last longer. When smoking was outlawed in the 1980s, cabin air was no longer clouded with pungent tobacco smoke. People started to report odours caused by toxic oil fumes, described as sweaty socks or wet dog. In the 1990s, Australian aircrews presented with poor memories, lung damage and multiple neurological complaints caused by nerve agent poisoning. In 1999, an Australian toxicologist, a US doctor and a French forensic scientist, who had all been studying sufferers, called this disease aerotoxic syndrome. But as this knowledge would reduce anyone's desire, either as a passenger or crew, to fly in planes with a design flaw, a systemic cover-up began. Such is the financial power of the air industry, they can still claim there is no positive evidence and use jet lag as a convenient cover story. Certain scientists shamefully downgraded organophosphates from nerve agents to nuisance or irritant chemicals. Just like the Volkswagen emission scandal, the identified high concentrations of poisons in a visible oil fume event have still never been published, leading to endless costly, fruitless further research, which is deliberately designed to misinform doctors, scientists and politicians who serve the public. No sworn testimony or published medical tests of survivors are believed, and most cases are settled out of court, with countless cases waiting to be heard. The BBC effectively banned their new unpublished term of aerotoxicity in around 2006, otherwise too many flyers would discover the inconvenient cause behind their ill health. The last time the BBC covered for the health scandal was on the 25th of February 2020 with shocking news. After years of gathering evidence, 10 lead cases against 4 UK airlines are due at the Royal Courts of Justice this year. Unite, the union behind the action, says it wants the public to know about the aviation industry's biggest secret. An extraordinary amount of powerful evidence has been gathered, says General Secretary Howard Beckett. The BBC have failed to follow up, as the pandemic has since confirmed that wealth was always more important than health. Around 30% of the population have difficulty detoxifying organophosphates and are badly affected by exposure to them. 5% become severely affected. This translates into huge numbers. A 2017 Dutch published paper estimated 1 million frequent flyers and aircrew unknowingly have aerotoxic syndrome in Europe alone. On the 21st of January 2017, US pilot Captain Andrew Myers made legal history. He was incapacitated during a fume event whilst in command of an Airbus A320. His landmark legal case was won in an Oregon public court on the 31st of July 2020, paving the way for countless other victims to be compensated. But the establishment media, led by the BBC, failed to report this legal precedent, which is now being appealed against. Another example of this habit of appealing occurred when, after multiple appeals over 18 years, cabin attendant Joanne Turner finally won her poisoning case in the High Court of Australia on the 3rd of September 2010. But the next day, industry would claim again that there was no positive evidence. There are solutions once the industry has accepted there is a major problem. The first jets of the 1950s took in clean outside air and compressed it, but these compressor pumps failed regularly. From 1962 onwards, industry found it cheaper to let bleed air enter the cabin via the engines, even though it was publicly recorded that this air was contaminated by design. It is on record that in 1999, Boeing were aware of the poisoning in their aircraft, and therefore their new design, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, returned to the old tried and tested electrical pumping architecture of compressing outside air. There are two nostril-like holes either side of the fuselage where air is sucked in. Passengers and crew enjoy uncontaminated air. But Boeing cleverly introduced other changes. For example, they increased the cabin air pressure from 8,000 feet to 5,000 feet. In this way, the health benefits could not be solely attributed to breathing uncontaminated air. Before the pandemic started, there were around 1,000 B787s. The rest of commercial flying was performed by some 25,000 aircraft, all of which use contaminated bleed air. However, there are engineering solutions that would mitigate the known design flaw. Filter the bleed air. Filters are now available. Or provide every aircraft with a toxic air detector to allow the poison to be monitored. It is almost beyond belief that there are no toxic air detectors in multi-billion-dollar jets. Air crews' noses judge whether or not the air is poisonous. 3. To use engine oil that uses less toxic chemicals. In recent years, many airlines have started to use safer formulations. However, from the industry's point of view, putting any solution into effect runs the risk of admitting there was a problem, and thus admission of liability. Such fears have caused glacially slow progress in fixing this problem. And in any case, these are all sticking plaster solutions. By far the biggest crime of the past 20 years has been the ban on any mention of the name of the illness to prevent the public from finding out about their ill health. We are used to the self-righteous indignation of media journalists over other human rights and serious health issues, but this time the ongoing media ban and cover-up of even the word aerotoxic is an even greater scandal. Not the 7-decade-long cause of mass poisoning, which has become normalised like so many others. The word which best sums up the systemic aerotoxic public poisoning cover-up is embarrassing. To poison professional aircrew for 7 decades and expect to get away with it misunderstands the mindset of professional aircrew, who dedicate their lives to public duty and are used to completing the mission. For those wishing to find out more, or who can help expose the aerotoxic cover-up, please visit www.aerotoxic.org. And it has some more information about the author of this article, who is John Hoyt, chairman of the Aerotoxic Association Limited, in brackets this is a charity, and an email address for him, which is john.hoyt@aerotoxic.org. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this article and found it informative. If you did, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.